Welcome to Likely Inspired, the podcast. It's your boy, Coda Prodigy.
And it's your boy, Hugo Finesse.
And today we have with us
Lynette Bryant with Kai Global Management Professionals.
Nice. Kai Global Management Professionals.
That's right.
All right. It has a beautiful ring to it.
What,
Definitely
the
does.
professional bar?
Yes. Yes, it definitely has a beautiful ring to it. Like, we could do some jingles and some commercials for that.
Right.
That's right. It's definitely not a side business, not a side hustle.
Gotcha.
Okay, Mrs. Bryant, could you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yes. Education-wise, I am a 3-time graduate of the University of Maryland.
Nice.
Have a bachelor's degree in economics and a double master's in business management and financial management.
A Southern bug.
A Southern bug.
How do you like being here in New York over Maryland?
You really want to answer that?
Yes, I really do.
I don't like New York.
Aww.
Most people from,
Yeah, I'm from the South. It's
very
just a
fast
different
paced.
culture. It's not the pace, it's the
Rudeness?
energy. It's the energy.
The rudeness.
Yeah, it's more of a negative energy.
Yeah, New Yorkers, we don't say good morning. We don't,
We don't smile.
no
at
thank
people.
yous, no
And
none
when
of
they
that.
smile at you, you thinking something's wrong with them, like they're
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, it's different.
Still have my Southern charm. I'm going to smile all day long.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Sure.
Well, show it. How long have you been in this industry?
I have been in the financial services industry. This is my 25th year in the financial services industry.
That's nice. What do you love about it the most? Because it has to be like a passion for you,
It is
right?
absolutely a passion. I think what I love about it the most is typically in the African American community, we don't know a lot about finances. So we kind of wing it.
Yeah.
So I think the thing that's most exciting for me is educating my people about financial matters. We tend to think that because we don't have a lot of money, or even if we have a lot of money, we don't really know what to do with it.
Right.
So the education piece, I'd say, is the most exciting part about it.
Let's focus a little on taxes for a moment.
Okay.
How important is it to consider who prepares your taxes?
It's extremely important. I would say that too often the do-it-yourselfers do themselves no justice because either they're leaving money on the table or they're just totally getting it wrong. Unless you have simple taxes, just one W-2 and that's it, I would say get someone who knows what they're doing to assist.
All right. How many dependents can I claim?
How many do you have? That's how many you can claim.
Right.
He ain't even want to claim. He ain't even claiming them right now.
Just a question to get out the way, that's all.
So basically, you say like it's always better to trust into a preparer to do your taxes for the safety precautions, basically,
For certain.
or for extra money.
A little bit of both. When you have simple taxes, it's really precautionary. It's not really extra money.
Right.
Because if you're just a W-2 worker, that is it. It is what it is. There's no extra money you can get being just a W-2 worker. But the more complicated your taxes become, the more you can present yourself in a different way.
Okay.
Because that's what tax preparation is. It's about how you present yourself to the government. And it's not a one-size-fits-all deal. And most individuals that don't specialize in this field don't realize that.
So most people just think they could just jump on like a TurboTax and just. That's because most of the people in like H&R Block and things like that, ain't that what they like?
Basically.
Like I could go to H&R Block and get a job, correct?
Yeah, you actually
It's just that
could.
simple.
They put you through a few hours of training, literally.
Right.
So unfortunately, a lot of times it's a hit or miss at H&R Block, because you could have someone preparing your taxes that really don't know any more about taxes than you do. So it can be
That's
a hit or
very
miss.
crucial. Yeah, that's very
that's
vital,
very good.
because instead of getting back this amount, you're only going to get back this amount, but they don't know any difference. They're just
Exactly.
following a system that they were
guideline.
taught. Yeah,
Yeah.
guideline basically.
Because those establishments are built with seasonal employees, and
Right.
some of those seasonal employees, this is their first season and maybe their only season. It's often not built on the backs of people who have long-term experiences and who have seen the different scenarios play out and know what to do in this scenario.
Yeah.
You don't necessarily get those kind of professionals at
What-
an H&R
Right.
Block.
What if I have a W-2 and I find myself owing each year? Is there something that I could do?
Get a side hustle. Absolutely. And I say that very earnestly because a lot of people have side hustles. And the first thing that comes to their head is, I'm not claiming this money. Uncle Sam is going to want my money. But the reality is, a side hustle makes you a small business owner.
Right.
And it opens up a whole new realm of write-offs.
Even if it's not LLC'd or S
Even if
corporate?
it's not, it can be a sole proprietorship, which is what you do under your own name. This is, your side hustle, but you still have to fill out a Schedule C, which is a profit and loss statement for that business. And people, W-2 workers with a side hustle, can come out getting more money back because they tend to get some of that money they paid on their W-2 job. They get that back with their write-offs.
Right.
That's good to know. So there's a lot of people out here that's doing like hair, babysitting, things like that don't have a business and they don't even claim it.
That's right. And it's actually not in their best interest not to claim it. That's what I mean by leaving money on the table.
Right.
They've paid whatever Uncle Sam took out of their regular W-2 job. They've paid that out in taxes, and they think that's gone forever.
Right.
Not necessarily.
Can I claim my parent, like a disabled parent or maybe a sick parent or aunt, uncle, something like that?
You can claim a parent or anyone else that you are covering at least 51% of their daily expenses. So if that parent is living with you and you're paying the rent, even if they're buying food does not equate to the cost of rent.
Living, yeah.
So if you're covering 51% or more of their life expenses, you can claim them as a dependent.
So that goes for parents, older children, all of that.
Anyone.
Gotcha.
Even if, there's a caveat to claiming older children, parents, if they're working.
Right.
You can still claim them if they're working under the same guidelines. If you're, covering 51% or more of their daily expenses, you can still claim them. Then they can't claim themselves. So it's good to have a professional who can say, okay, in this scenario,
can.
it's better for you to claim them because overall you'll get more money or you'll save more money. Or in this scenario, you might want to let them claim themselves.
Okay.
Right.
See, I was taught that. Well, I was told, not taught, told
Right.
that you can't claim, children or once they get a job.
Yeah.
You absolutely can. If they're still living under your roof and you're paying the rent and you're buying the food and you're still managing more than 51% of their expenses, you absolutely can claim them.
How does that affect them filing taxes?
Well, the fact that they can't claim themselves, it all depends. What I typically do is I run it two ways. I run it both ways. The parent claiming the child to see what their refund will be versus
If you do it
the
yourself.
child claim
Claiming
themselves.
himself, yeah.
And what's the bigger refund?
Right.
If the parent gets the bigger refund, I say let the parent claim them. And if you want to, shoot your child a couple $100s or whatever, then you do that.
Why not? Yeah.
But it's better to run it both ways to see what's the best scenario.
Beneficial, yeah. It was more
Yeah.
beneficial.
Okay.
Makes sense. How do I prepare for tax season?
How do you prepare for tax season? When you get your mail and you see on the front of it important tax information inside,
Yep.
hold on to it. That's how you prepare for tax season if you're not a small business owner.
Right.
It goes into much more detail if you have a small business owner. That's something we'd have to sit down and talk about.
Exactly.
I was going to say, would you care to elaborate a little bit on that?
That's because it's not a one size fits all. It really depends on what kind of business you're running. It's not something that I could clearly state.
Yeah, you have to basically get into what I'm doing in order
what
to be
you're
able
doing.
to.
Absolutely.
Right. Understandable. That's all I wanted to get a better understanding myself. You mentioned having a side hustle. So what is the benefits of the side hustle?
The benefit of the side hustle is to minimize your tax liability by maximizing your write-offs. Because what a lot of people don't understand, a side hustle, you know, you have to at least be making $600 a year in that side hustle. Okay?
Right.
Let me say that. It's not something you sold a book for $20 and then you got a
want it
side
back.
hustle.
Yeah, no.
It's not quite that easy. But if you're doing something like hair or even washing cars,
Lawn service.
babysitting, anything where you've made more than $600 in that year, you get the same write-offs as somebody who has a storefront. You're now a small business owner. You're no less of a small business owner as someone who may have a storefront.
What about estimated taxes? Who needs to worry about paying estimated taxes, and when are they due?
Estimated taxes, anyone who typically owes in taxes should consider paying estimated taxes. And the reason for that is the government expects you to pay taxes as you earn income. So if you know that over the last 2-3 years, you have owed taxes at the end of the year, you can begin to get penalized for failure to pay taxes.
Wow.
So that's the benefit of estimating your taxes based on prior years and paying them quarterly, because you can pay them monthly. Some people like that because they create a budget for themselves, and that's a part of their monthly budget. But they're only due quarterly, which is a bigger amount if you wait to pay them quarterly. So it might be easier to pay them monthly.
Right.
I've been seeing on social media, a lot of people are like all over the place with like, who you file your taxes, who's doing your taxes, and then once you tell them, the next thing they ask is, how do they charge and what do they get you back? Are they good? Me telling someone that my tax preparer is good and they charge me good, that typically doesn't mean much for the next person, does it?
It does not, because
Not at all.
for the record, okay, and I am going to speak into the camera. For the record, any tax preparer who is charging you based on your potential refund is doing something illegal. It is illegal for me to determine what your refund is and then charge you a portion of your refund. That is illegal. The way the business should be structured is it should be based on the way you charge should be based on what forms, what schedules, what worksheets you have to complete in order to properly serve the client.
Right.
So there isn't like no set amount that one person would pay over and over and over again.
Well, there is, like, if your tax preparer doesn't raise their fees and your taxes look the same they look the same this year as they did last year, then the price should be the same because it took the same schedules, worksheets, and forms to prepare the taxes.
Right.
So if the cost of your tax preparation is fluctuating every year, that's a problem, and it should throw up a red flag for the client.
Speaking of red flags, how can I avoid red flags and mishaps with my taxes and preparation?
Use a professional.
So no turbo taxes?
You can. I'll say this about software like TurboTax. there's nothing wrong with the software. The problem is with
The people.
the individual using the software. So if you don't understand taxes, you're not necessarily going to understand. You're thinking, oh, it's asking me questions, I just answer the question. But if you don't understand how the question
It's phrased.
is phrased or what it means,
Right.
I'll give you an example. I had a client, it was a new client, first year client, who came to me, and I typically go 3 years back to review taxes 3 years back, because this season and 3 years back, I can get a refund for you if it is due to you. Anything beyond 3 years back, you just lost it.
Right.
So I'm reviewing the prior year taxes, and she had this huge amount under meals. Now, yeah, meals, there is a meal expense for a small business owner. And so I asked her what made up this amount that she had under meals. She was a small business owner, but the amount was a bit excessive.
Right.
She told me that the way the question was asked, she thought it was talking about her groceries. So she included what she spent in groceries for the whole year on her TurboTax. I told her, we're not touching your prior year taxes because we don't want to bring any attention to it.
Yeah.
Those are the
That
kinds
would've
of things
tossed the
that can
red
throw
flag.
up red flags.
Gotcha.
You know, so if you don't know, then you should use a professional who knows.
Yeah. Exactly. Gotcha. How
So-
can I avoid an audit?
Use a tax professional. That's only
Again.
one way.
Yeah.
Only one way. Some audits are just Russian roulette.
Right.
You know, your name just came up.
It's your time.
But then some audits are spawned by those pesky red flags.
Right.
So
Gotcha.
some audits you can avoid. You have no control over.
Okay.
But you want to be able to control the things you can control.
Right.
What if I decide to get disgruntled, right? And I just say, F Uncle Sam, I ain't filing nothing. What's liable to happen then?
Well, if you're a W-2 worker, that income is reported to Uncle Sam as well as to the state. So they're going to calculate your taxes themselves. They're not going to consider any small business write-offs.
No
They're not
kids,
going
no
to consider any kids. They're just going to say, you made this, you paid this in taxes, and that wasn't enough. This is what you owe. But what I tell people, never pay what the IRS says you owe. Never. Because 99% of the time, it's not accurate.
Wow.
Because they don't consider anything except what they received. So any write-offs
tons
you
of
may have
sense.
had are not included in that amount.
So what about financial wellness? We understand taxes. What does it mean? What is it meant by financial wellness?
Financial wellness is the consideration of all things financial. And when I say all things financial, people think money.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, exactly.
Money.
Financial wellness is about more than money, but it has a monetary element to it.
Right.
Financial wellness includes your children, the plans you have for your children. It can include your parents. It includes anything that can impact your family. It includes if you own a home, different things that you can do with that. It includes life insurance. That's the biggest part of
Right.
developing a financial plan.
Exactly.
Life insurance. And most people have no clue.
So
You know,
that's what you would consider as the number one
Exactly.
quest for.
life insurance. Absolutely. You cannot have or you cannot establish a sturdy financial plan without life insurance. It's impossible.
When should you consider getting it?
When should you consider getting life insurance? Now. Absolutely right now.
Right now.
Because it's the only thing that can manage your financial life, the
Right.
life of your family, if something happens to you tomorrow.
Exactly.
It's the only way to leverage someone else's money to your benefit.
No, we understand it's like for right now for us, but I think he meant more or less on the line of like, what is the age that you should be considering for the first age, 18, 19? Right. Should they be considering it that early?
For an individual considering it for themselves, they should consider it when they get their first job. But for the individuals who have individuals, meaning they have kids, children.
Yes. Right now. Yes.
Right now.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. You should be getting life insurance on your children right now. Yeah. But it's different types of life insurance. So you want to consider a different type of life insurance for your children than you would get for yourself.
Is that something that you offer?
Absolutely. That's a part of the financial wellness, because I'll say again, without life insurance, you cannot have a financial wellness plan.
Right.
Okay, so what else do we have within financial wellness besides life insurance that they could get into, like some other investment stuff?
Like annuities. A lot of people know about 401ks because that's what you get on your job. And if you've done that, if you're investing in a 401k, that's wonderful. Don't stop, especially if the company matches. Say if you put 3% of your income in and the company matches 3%, that's free money.
I don't think no companies match. They say they match, but I don't think they really match. With those 401ks, like I've come to realize, like over my years of working, they really ain't much of.
I say take advantage of a company's 401k if they match. If they don't match, then you want to put your money in the private sector into something like an indexed annuity. 401ks are great. You can get 401ks in the private sector. The thing about government funded retirement plans is they have all of these regulations around them.
Could you transfer your 401k into the private one, like the one that you get from your job?
You can, and you should.
Would the job still match it, or if that's what it stops? It's just you.
That's the caveat. If the job is matching, you absolutely take advantage of the job's 401k because that's free money. We never say no to free money. But one thing that people don't realize is that a 401k is not the actual retirement vehicle that you get your distributions on. It's a good accumulation vehicle. But once you get within 10 years of your retirement, you really should be rolling that money over into a distribution vehicle, something that will guarantee you lifetime income. You don't have to worry about it running out and you working at Walmart at 72.
Exactly.
I can lose out on my 401k too, right? As far as like, let's say I've been at a job for 10 years and I ended up developing $12,000 in a 401k. Could that break down a little bit? Like
absolutely,
interest-wise and things like that?
Because a 401k is directly tied to the stock market. So if the stock market crashes, you could lose everything you have in a 401k. So a 401k, I would say a risk-averse person, someone who doesn't like risk, probably shouldn't have their money in a 401k. Because unless you're young enough to take 10 to 15 years to recover from a market crash, because that's about how long it takes. Once the crash happens, for you to get back to where you were, it could take 10 to 15 years.
Jeez.
Whereas you could have something safer, something that may not have the high highs that a 401k has, but you have no risk of loss. There are those type of retirement vehicles out there as well.
What is needed to open an annuity? Like how much is minimum, maximum?
An annuity, you can open it just like life insurance and pay into it just like you do a 401k with each paycheck.
So it'll come out.
So you don't need a lump sum.
Would it come out your paycheck or is it coming out of your bank? Like how does that roll?
It'll come out of your bank.
Nice.
Now, if there are ways to have it come out of your check, but those are more private industry group plans. So say you have a small business and you have 7 employees and you create a group plan for your business, for your employees, then that can be taken out of your check.
Right.
Okay.
Outside of that, it's set up to come out of your bank account.
So, if I basically wanted to jump into an annuity, right, I would come see you, of course, right? You would set me up with the annuity. Now, the minimum payment, I'm going to get back to that because annuity is something that I'm looking into myself, you know, but when you're getting into that aspect, is there a way where I could go, I only got 2, because budgeting is kind of hard right now for a brother, so budgeting is my thing. Can I get $10 a paycheck taken out and put into annuity? $10, $20, $50, $5? Like, what is the numbers that you would want to put in to see the better? You know, there's that maximum, medium.
It doesn't really work that way. How it works is kind of backwards. We would determine what you're trying to achieve in retirement, and then you back your way into what you would have to contribute monthly, annually, in order to achieve that goal.
Okay.
Gotcha.
So you could say once we determine what you need to be putting into your retirement in order to achieve a particular goal, what if you don't have that to put in? Then you start smaller and you grow. So you can always at any time change your contribution. The lowest contribution I do believe, however, is $50. So if you had that $10 a week, my suggestion would be to open an investment account, a bank account for investments, a regular bank account for investments. Have that $10 a week go into that account and have that account set up to pay into your retirement.
Okay, so divide and conquer basically on that level. Do you have any like tips that you could give a brother on like prepping myself for something like that?
No, you just do it. You just make a decision and you do it. When it becomes important to us, because we make a way to do the things that are important.
Yeah, we want to do. Yeah, most definitely.
When it becomes important enough, you'll just do it, because the thing about it is money unseen is easier to go without.
Right.
So when you set up that bank account for investments, you set up in your regular bank account where your check comes into.
And it automatically
You
pulls
set
it.
automatic pulls from that account so that it's not contingent on you remembering, oh, let me put money in this account. It happens automatically. And you want to set it up an account that you don't have easy access to. You don't want that bank account that you use for investments. You don't want checks for it. You don't want a debit card. You
just
don't
want to
want
save.
anything that can give you easy access to it.
Right.
Force yourself to save.
You know, the reason why I asked that question is because, like you said, you know, you look out. It's about our people, and our people have spending habits. Our people have saving habits. Our people have unnecessary things that we just need for no reason. So, I'm trying to figure out ways where we can get them to actually get their mind right. You know.
Right.
Well, the first thing you have to do is care enough. And oftentimes when you start having kids, you begin to care at a different level. Things begin to matter on a different level. I'll go back to life insurance. A lot of people understand life insurance as something that you have when someone dies. I call that death insurance.
I was about to say,
that exists. But life insurance today, you should definitely invest in the kind of life insurance that gives you living benefits. Because a real reality today is that sometimes we get chronically ill, but we don't die, and we still can't work.
Right.
So how do we protect our finances in those instances? If you have a life insurance policy that has living benefits, you can access a portion of that face amount If you have $100,000 in life insurance, but this life insurance has living benefits, you can access up to 90% with some policies.
So it's
$90,000 that
equity.
can help you manage through this illness you had. You got hit by a bus or whatever, and you're recovering, and you're in PT, in physical therapy for 6 weeks or 6 months. At least you have some way to manage your finances so that you're not losing your home, you're not losing your car. When you're able to go back to work, you're still in good standing.
It's kind of like refinancing your home or something like that, then, in a way, where you can pull a little bit out, use it for something, but pay back on it to get it back up. So it's good to have like life insurance. Like it's good to own your own home.
Yeah, and another thing, we all see the instances of someone passing, and then on Facebook and all kinds of social media platforms, you have the GoFundMes.
Right,
why? Because people didn't prepare.
Right.
And or another big thing is the person had life insurance, but they named a beneficiary. So the life insurance paid out to that beneficiary, and that beneficiary felt like, well, I need this money. So
happens all the time.
Exactly. So the family starts fighting over the money, but it's rightfully the beneficiaries.
Yeah.
So if the beneficiary chooses not to pay the burial expenses, then where are you? Back at the GoFundMe.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know that there is a life insurance where you can do, it's called pre-need, and it's specifically to pay burial expenses. It's a whole different type of life insurance. So you actually plan your passing and your funeralization.
So it'd be kind of like having two policies?
No, it's one policy. A pre-need policy is when you come in and you plan how you want to be buried, where you want to be buried, where you want to be funeralized. You plan all of that ahead of time so that in the event of your passing, your loved ones don't have to be scurrying trying to figure out, oh, well, mom wanted this, and mom already decided what she wanted. She already set it up. And when it pays out, when mom passes, it pays directly to the funeral home. And then anything left over goes to the beneficiary. Family. So you don't have to have those squabbles about, oh, so-and-so and so is $20,000 in debt. Mom had $25,000 life insurance, and so-and-so and so was the beneficiary. So they needed $20,000 of that. And now we only have $5,000. It's going to cost $12,000 to bury.
You see families separate so often over things like that.
But that's the financial wellness aspect of it. Taking care of these things beforehand. Yeah. So in the event of, it's just like car insurance.
Right.
You may never get into a car accident, but in the event that you do, you're covered.
Exactly.
Right? You want to do that for your life. You want to leave a legacy for your children. The only way we can leverage someone else's money to leave a legacy for our children is through life insurance.
Yeah, you pretty much need insurance on everything.
Yeah. It's just smart.
I have a question that goes back to the taxes. Let's say I get audited. Is it my tax preparer's responsibility to help me? Or no?
It is not your tax preparer's responsibility. This is why if you don't have a tax preparer who educates you through the process, that's a problem. Because when those taxes are filed, it is 100% on the taxpayer, not the tax preparer.
No.
So the taxpayer should make sure that they understand, what does this page mean? What is this? What's this number in this line? How did we come up with this? And your tax professional should be educating you. If you have a tax professional who is hesitant about educating you, run.
Yeah, I'm about to say, fire them.
Yeah, see, I asked that question because it's like, I've never been audited before, but you hear about people being audited, and I always thought they'd go back to their tax preparer with their paperwork or the letter that says they were audited, and the tax preparer will go through whatever they did. And
the tax preparer should, but that's an additional fee.
Right.
I thought that was a part of the fee that was taken out of that too. See, you learn something every single day.
The fee you pay to your tax preparer is to prepare your taxes.
So put a little bit to the side just in case. Or hire someone good enough, you know?
Yeah. Now, again, I cannot guarantee you will not get audited. Because if they spin that wheel and your name comes up, you're getting audited.
Yep, it's your turn.
Don't they spin the wheel, period, on everybody?
No.
I thought they just spin the wheel and check everybody anyway. Like, this is New York. This is the IRS we talking about. They don't just... Too many people do that. That's what I'm saying. Spin the wheel wherever it stops. We just gonna check you out, check you out, check you out.
That's the spin of the wheel, but it doesn't land on everybody's name.
Okay.
Now, if you have red flags going up all over the place in your taxes, they don't have to spin the wheel. They coming for you.
They coming.
You know. So.
All right. Well, that concludes our interview, and I'm very, very excited about this because I've learned a lot, and I feel like we just gave the viewers a lot to learn, especially at a time like now where you really need to learn. They're about to get their money back. People just start running anywhere trying to save money. So Sean wants to do TurboTaxes, and Keisha does them, and she's charging $80 this year, and then they end up with the problems. They don't get back what they're supposed to get back. So
and then they end up coming to someone like me and having to pay again to get their taxes amended.
Well, tell them where they come first, like where they call you and contact you at, so they don't have to go to Keisha or Sean or TurboTax.
Tell them where to go.
Happily, you can reach me either in my office at 631-865-3972 or via email at admin, ADMIN, at kaimanagementpros.com. That's KAI Management Pros, PROS.com. I'll be happy to help.
And there you have it, people. You had a nice, lovely episode of Likely Inspired with Mrs. Lynette Bryant and Kai Global Management. She's here for all your tax needs and to give you a little bit of financial wellness on this interview.
Yes.
And I hope you can take some of this information, soak it in, and then push it back out for the betterment of you. We are more than just hip hop. We are the culture, we are the streets, and we are for you, the people. So keep staying tuned. Like, subscribe, even share something, man. This is your boy Hugo Finesse.
Total Prodigy.
And we out. Peace.